Hey guys, welcome back. This is Purge and Blitz. We are getting ready to start the cast. It's going to be Navi versus Tongfu. Finally get to see Navi perform in the East. This is going to be a little reminiscent of what we saw at G1, where Team Liquid and Alliance showed up and played against the Chinese teams. How do you think they're going to do?
Pretty decently. This is Navi. That's they're like the team that has that magic behind them, you know? Like Alliance, obviously, they proved that they're one of, if not the strongest team in the world. But everyone cares about how Navi does, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of like the fan favorites. They always have been. They were the winners of the International 1. They got second in the follow-up. So there's like a certain mystique that comes along with being a fan of the team.
Yep, it should be pretty sweet to watch the games. Well, we're actually into the draft, so come on and hop in the game with us. Thanks everybody for tuning in, by the way. It's actually going to be a first-round ban Wisp out of Tongfu. A little scared of Funnick, understandably. Guy plays pretty amazing Wisp when needed. Gyrocopter Treant Protect is what Navi's going to run. Tongfu first pick to Visage, and they're also going to respond with a Spectre. So, interesting drafting so far. Rocket Barrage is really effective against Spectre even in the mid game, so they will have some single target damage options there.
Yeah, and a tree pickup really early. A really good hero just in general. It's really defensive. It keeps your towers alive. It helps whoever's going mid, so if Dendi's having any sort of issues, Tree Armor should be able to... It almost adds like extra regen at all times for whoever Dendi decides to play mid. And a quick Gyrocopter pickup. I think that's just the hero overall is being really highly valued right now. Every time I see it, it goes in the first two.
The Treant?
No, the Gyrocopter.
Oh, the Gyrocopter, yeah. Especially, think about DK. DK picked Gyrocopter almost every single game. Even some games when they would lose with Gyrocopter, they just picked him repeatedly. They didn't really care. I mean, he has received some nerfs lately. Flat Cannon got an increased cooldown, I believe up to 30 seconds from like 20 in the past, but the hero is still played a lot because Call Down is fantastic, Rocket Barrage are fantastic, and Flat Cannon scales extremely well into the late game.
Everything is a really low cooldown, and farming the Ancients and the jungle camps in general are just really easy with Gyrocopter.
Yeah.
So catching up or getting ahead with him is really easy. And team fights are also just point and click, right? You turn on Flat Cannon and that hits everything. Yeah.
Very good against Visage Bats as well, actually, which is kind of a nice little benefit. Once you get to a decent damage area, you can just flak down those birds and get a bunch of extra gold. And a lot of targeted bans towards some core Navi heroes that haven't been picked up yet. Most notably, they have Puck as well as Chen. Puppy plays an amazing Chen, Dendi plays an amazing Puck, and they're not going to have to worry about delay issues either, because these guys, Navi is in not in Singapore, Shanghai, I believe. So I believe they're playing on Chinese servers, so it should be a pretty even matchup here.
Yes, in terms of delay, the one thing that has always separated the European scene from the Eastern scene has been the fact that the delay would be way too big. And so this kind of gets rid of it. We get to see what Navi can do under ideal circumstances and ideal ping, so that's not an excuse here. Rubik going to be quickly picked up by Navi. As this, our analysts discuss, that's KuroKy's hero. It's the really high skill cap support. He can do everything with it. I mean, you'll never really see a Rubik played with the same amount of flair as somebody like KuroKy.
Especially when we're talking about some of the matches that he's done really well in. It was right when Magnus was really popular. That guy steals RP almost every single time it's used against his team, and you don't always expect the Rubik to throw back at you. So when he can cast RP against your opponents after the team fights have clumped a little bit, he's going to catch at least 2 or 3 heroes, which is always super effective. So.
Yeah, he has the playmaking ability of somebody that in Dota 1 he was a mid player and a carry, so he's always been playing those action roles, and it's kind of shown in his support play. Sometimes you do see a little bit of inconsistency, but when he comes, you know, when he's really on, there's nobody that really quite plays that hero like KuroKy does. But a Clockwork going to be picked up by Tongfu. I'd imagine that'd be their long lane hero.
Yeah, I would expect so as well. He's okay against Gyrocopter in the lane as long as he doesn't get caught under cogs with Gyro, for example. But he can do cog harass. On the Gyro, he's going to have to stay out of Flat Cannon range, and he does have a lot of damage sources against targets like the Treant. Like, Battery Assault does so many attacks that within a couple seconds you will break through the Tree Armor at least. And initiating on heroes like Rubik or even Windrunner is also going to be very effective.
Yeah, Windrunner going to be picked up by Navi. They needed a long laner for Funnick, and there it is. Already the Darkseer was banned, and the Clockwork was picked, so I think this was kind of the next best thing for Navi. I guess they have the tree now, so I guess the tree would be the support. Yeah,
I feel like there haven't been that many tree offlanes lately. Most people are playing him as a support.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the right way to do it?
If you can safe lane and just pick up levels and kind of really play passively, then it's fine. Just because you can stack, pull, kill the stack, give your mid a bunch of help, then it's alright. But I remember, I can't remember which team it was yesterday. They tried running an offensive tri-lane tree,
Yeah, they ran a
Sand
Visage... Sand King... No, it's a
No.
Visage tree plus a carry or something like that, I thought.
I thought it was a Sand King, a tree, plus Gyro, I think it was.
Gyro?
I think those were
maybe
the 3 heroes.
something really weird that didn't didn't end up being
Regardless,
very
it was a
effective.
tree and a tri-lane, and it didn't really quite work out.
Yeah.
I think this hero does need to go in the safe lane to really flourish.
So last pick, or fourth pick, excuse me, from Tongfu is coming up in a bit.
Yeah.
They have a hard carry, they have a support, they have a long lane, so they need either a melee, a mid hero or another support.
Yeah, I'd imagine they'd take, well, there's quite a few mids left over, so they could just wait out, see what Navi gets, and kind of counterpick around that. Maybe Navi decides to go with that OD that's been so popular in the West, that Obsidian Destroyer, or Outworld Destroyer plus Tree combination that's been really good lately. And maybe they just don't want to run into something like that.
So do you think Tongfu's going to have to snag their mid hero up now?
Oh,
they will
and
actually.
Yeah,
so.
they're going to pick up the Dragon Knight.
Okay, so Dragon Knight mid. This is going to allow Navi to possibly counterpick this hero if they need to. They don't. There's a lot of options that they can put against Dragon Knight. The hero has gone down in win percentage a bit since the Bottle Crow nerf, since he isn't able to get as many bottle charges. It might just be increase of level of play against the hero, but he has gone down very slightly since the last patch went through.
Yeah. And Tongfu, they get their support ban. They need a support. Navi, on the other hand, unless they plan on putting Gyrocopter mid, they need a mid. So I imagine Tongfu will ban out a mid. Maybe something like some of the more common heroes that Dendi plays. There's a Queen of Pain available to him, a Magnus, who actually has seen quite a bit of a nerf though. I know that Navi in general just likes to give Dendi that action hero, the one that really has that playmaking ability.
I'm not really sure what they're going to go for though, but they have lots of ban targets, but really just one to throw in here before Navi has to grab a hero. Is there anything they're really missing in their composition? They currently have a lot of stuns, a decent amount with Rubik Lift as well as Windrunner Shackle. Trian can use Overgrowth as well, which is pretty good against some of their heroes, but to counter the Spectre, I'm not really sure. I feel like they need some. I think they need more ganking personally. And since they have a Treant support, they can't really smoke gank that often either, so I feel like they need some kind of a ganking mid hero.
Yeah, some sort of tempo creation for the Gyrocopter. I think they also need another damage dealer. That would be ideal, just because it feels like they're a bit weak in terms of damage, just because you have a Rubik who is more theoretical damage. And what is he going to steal on the other side that is really going to up his DPS?
The dagger.
And the tree.
Yeah.
And then the
Breathe
Windrunner
Fire would
is
be
more of a
okay.
utility long lane hero than she is a pure out DPS one.
Maybe they're anticipating a Windrunner mid since they did ban out the
Weaver?
The Weaver here. So maybe they're expecting Windrunner's going to go mid. That would have been their off lane. And that would have been not bad actually if they did have a Weaver offline. Visage and Spectre both don't have good ways of shutting him down. So he could have just ran away.
Yeah, 11 seconds, 10. And a Templar Assassin could be picked up by Navi.
Okay. So he has a pretty good last hit advantage over Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight can breathe fire, but other than that, Templar Assassin can easily get better denies. And Tongfu grabs the jungling hero with the Enchantress. That should give them some pretty good early pressure possibilities against the enemy players. So we are into the game, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Let's go over the Radiant team quick. This is Team Tongfu. Hao is going to be playing the Spectre. We've got King J on the Clockwork. Sen Sheng is playing the Visage. We've got Banana on the Enchantress. And the last player is going to be Mu on the Dragon Knight.
And for Navi, this feels really historic, so I'm not going to mess this up. We've got Puppy playing the Treant Protector. Havas playing the Gyrocopter. Dendi going to be playing that Templar Assassin. Kuroki going to be playing the Rubik. And Funnick going to be playing that Windrunner. And they're already starting to 5-man. Both teams should be able to do this. Just protect their jungle out. Make sure that no wards are placed down to protect the pull. And actually, do you see Puppy's build? He's opted to go... He's kept 223 gold, and he's actually just picked up a pair of sentries and nothing else.
Interesting. I wonder why he's doing this. Maybe he's going to go for a fast stout shield so that he can trade hits with the Clockwork or something like that. That would allow him a lot more protection. Normally we see people, oftentimes supports, save money at the start in case they need sentries. In this case, he actually bought them already, so I'm going to assume it's something like a stout shield, or that would be my guess, I guess.
And actually, Funnick is the hero that I'm going to watch here. He's actually picked up boots. He was stacked some regen. And so one pair of tangos was bought by Puppy for him. I think he'll do okay in this as long as Enchantress doesn't pick up any really annoying creeps. I think the net creep is what's really going to hurt him, if anything.
Yeah. Especially
Especially with this really fast boot pickup, he should be okay.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. He doesn't actually have a salve, but with the extra tree armor as well as all the tangos, it's going to be pretty hard for him to die, I agree. And again, they don't have hard disables, so Rune's going to be top. The first attack is going to miss from Funnick, and it's going to be a DD. Kuroky's going to be able to pick this up, of course, so he might be able to gank on the mid lane. Puppey doing some D-warding. It's going to be an Observe Ward, gets picked off very, very fast here. So this means that they could possibly gank Moo if they want to. It's still going to be a tough gank to pull off successfully, but at least with the ward gone, they're going to be okay.
So King J decided to do the Clockwork Trap, but Havas, anticipating this, has been blocking this top lane this entire time.
Wow.
And normally when you do this, it'll push it to the tower, but in this way, he's making it so that it doesn't just immediately die to the tower.
So he blocked his wave all the way. One other way that you can actually deal with this is if you come forward as the carry, you can pull the further forward creep and dance it around in a circle until the creeps meet perfectly. And actually, it's going to end up pushing the wave now, and there's not a whole lot he can do about it because that first creep did die first. So if King J just sits back and plays it safe, and the pull comes a little bit late from Navi, they're not actually going to be able to control this lane for a bit.
Yeah, I was anticipating Kuroky just grabbing that to harass with. They don't have any smokes on the supports, so I think they actually just plan on playing this really passively. And Puppey will just keep tree armoring Dendi and the Windrunner at bottom, and hopefully that'll keep him alive. And Funnick actually able to trade right clicks for free because of this. Wow,
he's doing a ton of damage actually. Visage is already out of tangos. He's got a salve picked up, but man, the tree armor here really puts Windrunner back into the metagame because before she doesn't trade that effectively against other supports. Her armor's relatively low, and if you can shut down her Windrunner movement speed, she doesn't end up being that effective down here. But it's really cool to allow more offlane heroes to come back into the metagame as a result. But she is getting ganked here. There's a Hellbear Smasher right onto melee range. That's going to clap. Here comes the net as well as Windrun is being used, but now back to normal movement speed. She needs to get around the Enchantress. Great blocking from Banana so far, and Funnick is going to probably get picked off. Enchantress takes the first blood. Nice gank there, and pretty sick micro there from Tongfu. Tree armor was not enough.
Yeah, and wow, Banana, he's been impressing me every single time I see him. Being able to get both the spells off on the here onto Funnick, being able to block him off with the hero as well, and getting the last hit. Banana just seems like an all-star every time I see him play.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Puppey's currently pulling, going to grab some free EXP here. Takes a double Centaur lane out. Missing some last hits, though. That's going to be pretty crucial as a support hero. So he does pull the next large camp in, thanks to Kuroky's help. And Clockwork's going to try to contest this, but we'll see if he can do it. Doesn't look like it, though.
Yeah. And meanwhile, although he did die, Funnick did die, at the same time, it ends up pushing the creep wave. And so he's able to pick up some much-needed experience here. So it was kind of, it sucks to die for first blood, but at the same time, being able to get this much free experience is actually worth it in some cases.
Yeah, that is true. Pulling the wave back now looks really good for him, too. So some EXP on him. Spectre is going to run back. Templar Assassin snags the regenerate that he did bottle up earlier. So he's doing a pretty good job against Moo here. Moo actually grabbed a really early magic stick. Do you think this is worth it against a TA? I feel like this isn't going to pay off that much.
It's also a long-term investment as well, just in case. In team fights and stuff, it'll pay off, but it's more just, I think it's because Moo is having some issues in the middle lane. I mean, he's kind of being dominated, 14-9 for Dendi and 8-1 for Moo. So just trying to stop the bleeding here, picking up a wand. But Dendi doing a really good job of using the side blades at all times.
Yeah, he did pick up a level of his passive there, at level 2 actually, so that he could get a little bit more attack range. He keeps getting denies here. Moo's only got 9 last hits. Dendi's up to 16 now, doing a great job on the mid lane. Keeps using Melt Strikes. He's been doing this constantly. Great stun. Here comes the Centaur stun. That's going to land on him as well. There's the clap, puts him at half HP. He needs to get out of here. He's got a full bottle, but he does get picked off. Tongfu able to snag the kill on Dendi on the mid lane. Man, Banana is just making the plays. Perfect stun timing for the Dragon Knight, and they set up the follow-up.
Yeah, and Banana was right there for that. I can't imagine Dendi expected that to happen, especially, was he smoked?
I don't believe so. Dendi was sitting
like
right at the bottom of the
in.
ramp. Yeah, he was right in the middle of the river. You don't have good high ground vision there, and the stun into the combo was just enough.
Yeah, and at the same time, Dendi's been using Meld every single time that Moo comes close enough to try to CS, and while that has paid off in terms of harass, it makes it really easy for the Enchantress to come and gank you, because you don't need dust.
Yep, and if that is on cooldown, like we said, you just stand there. Or at least you have to run. You can't actually just stand invisible. So Wand is picked up. There's the bottle currying back. Moves back to the mid lane. Even still, they did get that kill, but he is still a bit behind in CS. So he needs to make up for this if he wants to get his BKB at a reasonable time. Funnick actually invis on the bot lane level 4. Still trying to grab some EXP, but How's just free farming. And he's actually going the max dagger build. So.
And actually a tornado creep, the Wild Wing Ripper being sent mid just to kind of mess with Dendi. As this is actually the most annoying creep possible that you can send mid to deal with a mid hero. Especially one like TA where she's refract heavy, just to deal with harass and stuff like that. But managing to outrun the tornado,
Yeah, a small mistake from the Enchantress, actually. He did send the Tornado all the way under tower. Dendi hid from it, and it doesn't have very good vision anymore like it used to. Might see a stun on Dendi. No, he's just going to take some poison damage here. And boy, does that burn down fast.
Yeah, that plus the poison just seems to destroy him. And getting rid of all the refract charges. Mu doing slightly better now, but Dendi is still essentially free farming. He's got 25 CS and 14 denies. And at top, King J, level 4, compared to Funnick, who is also level 4. But Funnick is a bottle now, so he should be just fine at the bottom lane. He's actually farming quite well. He's got, since he did go boots first, it's a bit skewed, but he's going to have bottle boots in 5 minutes as a long lane, and that doesn't feel bad at all.
Wow, that is really good. That's going to help out a lot. His armor is still pretty low, and his stats are still not very good, but he has more regen picked up, and any power shot harass he can do on How is really effective, especially because he was a little greedy. He picked up a bracer first. He's trying to get his drum up as fast as possible, and that means no Tranquil boots for now, but he can just hop to the side shop with a Ring of Protection when he decides to ferry one over and get that regen up. So any harass that Windrunner can do now is going to be very useful.
And he's actually going to find this regen rune. Almost loses
close.
it by Sun Chang.
That would have been nice, because he did pop a lot of his bottle charges, and even a power shot. Man, Funnick has just got this guy's number here.
Yeah, that was a spite power shot. Not really going to do too much aside from harass.
Is he farming this camp on purpose? He is, I think.
He's trying to take it down with power shot just because he has the regen rune.
Oh, that is pretty cool. So takes a bunch of CS there. Dendi back to the mid lane, now level 7. Refraction's maxed out. He's going to spot out Satyr. Gets a little scared. Or at least Mu is like, hey, let's kill this guy.
Yeah, Mu actually has to be levels. Has to have his ultimate up before they can do anything. The Elder Dragon form actually at level 1 does really good work against Dendi's refraction.
Yeah.
So anytime that's up, they can actually attempt a gank on him, provided a dust is there.
Well, let's take a look at the hero levels at least. Let's see how the supports are matching up against each other. Dendi is still level 7 versus Mu despite his death on the mid lane. It's because he has so many extra denies. The carries are just about the same level, and most importantly, the bottom supports are actually, the bottom heroes are actually the off lane for Navi as well as the Treant Protector. So Navi is slightly behind in EXP, it's looking like. Yeah, and the Radiant does have a slight advantage here. So gold is just fine, so neither team really has a major laning advantage, but we'll see how this game rolls out in the mid game.
Yeah, that's skewed as well, though, just because if you have a jungle hero like Enchantress in general, she's going to get essential free farm.
Yep.
Like, she's going to get solo experience and everything, so the experience graph is a little bit misleading, to say the least.
Yeah. So Funnick on the bot lane, still 4, about to pick up 5 at least. How, again, actually goes phase boots this game, so no HP regen out of this guy. Every single right click is going to do some serious damage to How.
Yeah, but at the same time, he has a poor man's shield and actually pops his ultimate.
Ooh, Dendi in trouble. He is being chased, but they're going to use the Treant armor. Pops another refract as well. Is he going to fight How? He's going to wait a second, wait for the trap to break. There's the trap break. Meld goes down one hand on How. He gets stunned again by Mu. That might have been a mistake from Dendi here, and he gets killed. Oh my gosh. A little greedy from Dendi. He didn't check their items or something, but he thought he could get away. He broke the Meld just to do the damage, and then they killed him. They didn't have detection. He literally could have waited that out and not died.
Yeah, that felt a little bit sloppy. I think he could have just walked away there. Or, I mean, just kept invisible.
Yeah.
And let the tree armor do its work, but I think he got nervous that maybe Mu was going to breathe fire on him again.
Okay.
And thought that might kill him, so he tries to run away, but just choosing an inopportune time. And man, you don't often see this. A TA dying this much mid, especially since they haven't even brought one dust over at any point. Yeah,
no kidding. He does finish his treads at least, but I'm not sure where his bottle is, actually. Did he lose the courier or something? Or did he bottle crow back? Is it top? Okay, it is top. Dendi's bottle is on the top lane, so it'll swing back towards him. Having the treads helps at least because he's got good attack speed, but man, dying this many times is the mid lane, not expected for Dendi.
Yeah, fly bird, fly. Mu actually starting to catch up now in CS. It was terrible before, I think. He had like 14, 15 more than him, but now now the difference is only about 6. And that's represented in the fact that Dendi has died twice now. And maybe just playing a little bit too aggressively considering the fact that he's got refract, and they're going to go in on him again.
He will get stunned. Actually, there's a haste rune as well. Soul Assumption is used, and Dendi goes down again. Sentry Ward in place. No way of him surviving at this point. He's just getting way behind. Banana's actually going to pressure forward. They're going to try to take the mid tower, actually. It's pretty low. And with the Dragon Poison, this does 20 damage per second. That's going to break right through that living armor. And the tower is definitely threatened to fall. If they can take out the mid tower right now, this is going to open up their ganking possibilities quite a bit. This is the most important tower to defend Roshan for the Dire team. On the downside, it's going to be harder to get solo EXP for the Dragon Knight later on. And Navi's going to trade for the tower top. So if they can take this right now, at least they'll equalize on gold. But looks like they're going to give up on it as well.
Yeah. I don't even think they can take this tower top right now. King J, he's picked up his bottle now. He can just spam the rocket flares and able to save that tower. And just a really good start for Tongfu. All their ganks just seem to be going really cleanly. Like, nothing feels very forced.
Yeah.
And nothing feels obvious. When you do a gank, sometimes it just kind of feels like, you know, the other person knows it's coming, but Dendi doesn't even see these coming at any point. Maybe just a little too, he feels a little bit safe with Refract plus Meld and the tree armor.
Yeah, who knows? I'm not really sure what it is. I haven't even been checking Puppy's tree armor. Maybe it's been off cooldown. Maybe he's been using it already. Maybe he's been using it to heal towers instead of putting it on heroes. I'm not quite sure. But he's level 5 now. He's got 2 levels of Leech Seed, so he can use this offensively if needed. And we can just honestly focus on how great Enchantress is on ganking, though. It's such a great ganking hero. The power of the creeps early game, it's a lot of HP. It's a lot of disable, and if you can get those set up, it's just fantastic. Crow's going to steal Breathe Fire, actually. Pretty good nuke for them in the early game. Like we said, they don't have that much damage. So grabbing a 300 damage AoE is a good way to start things off.
And actually, Navi's going to assemble for this bottom tower here. They feel maybe they're a bit behind, but they do have the better team fight. So they are going to try to get onto this tower. And Tongfu actually started to rotate their entire team over. Moo's got a TP though, so he can wait for a bit. King J actually walking down, checking the rune.
He's going to be really limited on mana if he TP's in, though. If he TP's in, he's got a hook shot, and that's it. That could cost him a lot if there isn't a Arcane Boots on somebody. There is actually an Arcane Boots on Visage. Great Shackle Shot to start things off, but we're not going to see a follow-up. A little bit of Hellbear Smasher clap on Navi, and will they retreat? It kind of looks like it.
Yeah. And this wasn't good by Navi. They try to group up as 5 and take a tower, but it looks like they aren't going to get a whole lot, and that's a lot of commitment, considering that Moo's gotten free farm during this entire time. And also, they didn't panic. Banana just continued to farm. Everyone just kind of kept in the jungle. They kept 2 or 3 heroes around this area, just in case a team fight did happen. But for the most part, no commitment from Tongfu.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So Tongfu now going to group up and push bot themselves. Clockwork has gotten back down here, so he'll be able to do a hook shot as well as a cog. No bottle charges left for him. And the bot tower will be taking damage shortly. Dragon form about halfway through, so it will do a lot of poison damage actually. Urn picked up on Enchantress as well. And Curl with some HP regen now. This tower looks not long for life though. They're going to fortify this. They'll buy them a couple seconds, but is Navi going to be able to TP fight? So Wand and a Treads on Dendi, and Havos does not have a TP, so I guess they have no plans of defending this here. He's going to try to trade with the top tower, but without the TP scroll, there's no way that they can team fight this.
And actually, Banana going to go up here at top. Are they going to initiate on him? Hal Hans in, gets the dagger off, and Banana's coming up with the troll creep. There's the net. It looks like the boss is actually going to die.
Oh, he does go down. Actually, a team fight on the bot lane as well. Clockwork's going to go down. Dendi taking some damage. Can they catch anyone else? Soul Assumption. Dendi refracts just in time. So they trade a bit there. They also lose Puppy on Tram Protector. Puppy gets killed. So they lose 2 for 1 there. And most importantly, that's a Gyrocopter going down. So not a good trade there for Navi. They also didn't take a tower. So they keep losing advantages here.
Top tower is under attack.
Yeah, that was actually fantastic too. Just the gank by Banana at top. I mean,
yeah.
the best thing about the Spectre is as soon as you commit 1 hero to gank somebody, then the Spectre can haunt in, and you never see it coming. It's just such a fluid ganking hero.
Yeah, and especially with the skill build, he only has 3 levels of Desolate, only 1 level of Dispersion. His right click is really powerful. There's very little way for Gyrocopter to survive that. If he would have had a TP scroll, he might have actually lived that, now that I think about it. I guess did they have a Troll Net? Is that what it was ganking with?
I think the Desolate would have been enough to nail him. But
it's hard to say. Better than running away, at least. But
yeah. You can really do anything in a situation like that. I think he would have died, but Phonic actually, Navi gonna group up as 5 again. Dendi doesn't have a TP though, and he's not actually running down quite yet. He's kind of actually close to no mana. Sunshine does get shackled, doesn't land. Dagger's gonna fly, and Navi feels like they're trying to force this again.
Yeah, it was a little aggressive by Phonic. He even used Wind Run to run forward there. A Puppy can give him Arcane Boots, and he's got a bottle as well, so no problems there. Dendi's shifting over. He's got 900 gold in the bank, so I'm sure they were hoping to have maybe a Blink Dagger up on Dendi at this point. Normally, I mean, if they were pushing with a Blink Dagger, he could jump on one of these support heroes a lot easier and try to blow them up, but now he's just playing a typical mid hero that doesn't have much farm, and he actually picks up a Bracer, so it looks like the drum build is on the way for him.
And the birds, they're going to land. Moo's actually going to pop his ultimate and a double damage rune and a Shadow Blade. Puppy going to get initiated on by King J.
There's a call down as well. A bunch of AoE damage there. Puppy gets killed immediately. King J almost goes down. 100 HP. There's the Haunt. How's going to turn and fight. Havos goes so low. Dragon stun as well. Dendi running for his life. He is so slow. Another soul
Oh my god,
but
Kuroki's going to steal the hook shot.
Oh man.
Goes in on King J, but I think he's going to pay for it with his life.
And Dendi might get killed. There's another stun. Impetus scores the last hit. Now Phonic running for his life 3 seconds away from a Wind Run. But we're going to see Puppy respawn. Maybe Banana might go down. He's going to put his heal back on, so unlikely for him to fall. And Tongfu is not done pushing a stun on Phonic. A bit of a mistake here. He used Wind Run at least. And there's the leech. He's going to buy him some HP as well. Shackle Shot, Power Shot. He's going to fall. Bit of a mistake there. Puppy now
Puppy's
as well.
going to go down too.
Oh my gosh. Navi just making mistake after mistake here. 12-2.
And there's the
game.
GG.
Oh my gosh.
At 15 minutes, 12-2, an absolute slaughter. Did you see highlight though? Kuroki steals the hook shot,
missed
and
it.
then he goes back in on the clockwork, manages to pick him off.
Okay.
But then he dies immediately to Hao. Tongfu with absolute decimation of Navi. It just felt like Navi was trying to force things too much. The gank seemed to be going the way of Tongfu early, picking up 1 or 2 kills.
Well, more than that, man. Dendi died 3 times in his mid-roll. I mean, they were really hoping that he could get a core item up and then they could push with this, but it just didn't work out at all. Like, they ganked him so effectively, and I think it was just a little bit too much carelessness from him, perhaps. Maybe if they had an Observer Ward checking high ground. I mean, Enchantress is going to gank your off lane. He's going to gank your mid-rolls. I don't know. But Navi doesn't want to play this game anymore. After they fed those 3 kills, I felt like it was pretty much over.
Yeah. Once they started dying 1 by 1, I think that was just a sign of a team starting to collapse, and they're like, well, this game's over. Nobody had farmed on their team at that point. Even Havas had died so many times.
Yeah. He did okay in his lane, but I mean, he had a long ways to go before his BKB, and all the nuke damage on Tongfu could blow him up easily every fight. So, man, they absolutely get shut down. I think their draft was honestly kind of okay personally. I don't know, it didn't seem that weird. Just laning problems from them.
The thing is, when you decide to try to push into S5 that early, the defending team will always have the advantage in that they only have to send 2 or 3 heroes to pre-position themselves.
Yeah.
So then the last 2 heroes can TP in and show up, and it doesn't just completely destroy them. Because if like all 4 heroes TP while the tower's being hit, then you go in 1 by 1, and the TP timer takes so long. But if you only send 1 or 2 away and then just have 3 or 4 sitting down there, like in preparation, then it's going to be so easy to defend towers, and it just felt like they were trying to force things way too much instead of letting things happen organically.
Yeah.
But we don't want to talk about the game too much. We do have Ben Merlini Wu here. Now. And LD, he keeps calling him LDZ, so we'll pass it on to our analysts.
Merlini and LDZ back at the analytics desk, and well,
why'd you take off your hoodie?
It's getting hot in here. That game was a big
That game was ridiculous.
I mean, Banana has been such a playmaker for Tongfu. Yesterday he went, I believe it was like 5-1-8, 5-1-7 on Jakiro in like the first 9 to 10, maybe 12 minutes of the game. And this game, great movement on that Enchantress early on.
The thing about Spectre is if you lose the early game versus him, you're almost certainly just going to lose the game. It's very similar to a Phantom Lancer. And like usually you just have like a kind of a rough early game, like first 20 minutes, and then Spectre starts contributing team fights, getting his farm on, and then starts dominating. But if you lose like in the first, first 10 minutes, fall behind in kills, fall behind in towers, like Navi did, it's very easy. Like you just have to call GG. There's nothing you can do.
And that lineup scaled really well. It wasn't just the Spectre. It was a DK with a very fast Shadow Blade, Clockwork, who's still a huge nuisance late game. I mean, anyone except the until they got BKBs, he's going to continue to be a problem. And Visage, a support who scales quite well with the familiar. So late game Spectre, it was already starting to get towards late game. That last fight, I think they lost like 6 or 7 heroes in a row.
Yeah, they just kept going. It was T1 tower all the way up to the past the T2.
Navi just kept on respawning and just kept on finding kill after kill.
I feel like they did a really good job at pushing towers though. They like they moved around the map really well. Tongfu, they got a lot of kills and they pushed towers down and they protected Spectre. They did pretty much everything that they needed to do early game, and I felt like their just map movement and control around the map was just very spot on.
They take game 1. Of course, it's a best-of-2 format. So end of the day for Navi, it's just 1 loss, not the biggest deal in the world. They'll have to bounce back here. I felt like Navi's draft was maybe just not the best at creating early game pressure, and up against Spectre.
It wasn't that great anti-push either. I mean, Rubik is decent with Fadeable, but if you don't get levels on that, like TA, what are you going to do versus pushes? I mean, Tree Living Armor is strong for healing up towers, but in terms of like actual 5-on-5 team fight, it's not that good either. And then Gyrocopter, he needs his farm. And I don't know, it just felt like a little not robust, as AC would say.
Where's AC when you need him? But that's going to wrap up game 1. We'll take a quick break, guys. When we come back, we'll be live with game 2 of Navi versus Tongfu, your second day of Group B action for the Alienware Cup, brought to you by Alienware, MasterCard, and DPM Interactive. Stay tuned.